Well, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to the Vietnam War movie reviews. So here I am to review the movie starring Mel Gibson, directed by Randall Wallace, called We Were Soldiers. Now this is a pretty good movie. It takes place in a different era of the Vietnam War. It takes place at the very beginning of Vietnam War, 65. And it's basically... it details the 7th Cavalry heading into the highlands of Vietnam as led by Lieutenant Hal Moore, a famous war lieutenant from the Vietnam War. And it's a different era because it's not like it's interesting, and it's quite very historically accurate. And this is the very beginning, so like the situations that you see in, say, Platoon or Apocalypse Now, or even Born on the 4th of July, and these other sorts of Vietnam movies, the kind of stuff that happened in those movies did not happen in this era that the movie takes place in. This is the very beginning. It was the U.S. Army's first effort at doing such a thing like this, and it was when they first realized that they were in for a lot more of a battle than they ever thought. So it's an interesting era, and it's a different. It takes place at a not so spoken about time in the Vietnam War, so that is good. I don't think the movie ultimately is as good or better or anything than those movies, like absolutely not. Like Platoon and Apocalypse Now and Full Metal Jacket are absolutely the 3 best Vietnam movies, and this one definitely is not better than those movies, but it's a pretty good movie. Some of the at-home scenes, like asides the war scenes, some of the at-home scenes are quite cheesy and quite over the top and quite very on the nose. Like, I mean, some of them, they're effective, like they are still kind of historically accurate to what the people were thinking at the time and everything, but they're very, very over the top, and they're very pretentious, and yeah, quite cheesy at times, and yeah, really on the nose, like stuff that could have just been portrayed in really good emotional acting, like they feel like they have to say and speak about all the time, which I did not like as much. And yeah, like I said, it was just quite very cheesy. The battle scenes and all the scenes that take place in Vietnam are amazing. Like, I will say, like the battle sequences, even for its time, I mean, it's not an incredibly old movie, but it's older, at least early 2000s, and so for its time, the technology and the in the special effects with the battle sequences is quite phenomenal and quite amazing. There's some really heavy scenes, some really gory. It's a really gory movie. There's some really hard to watch, gory, gross sequences in this movie too. I really like Mel Gibson's performance as Hal Moore, and I really like the depth that Mel Gibson brought to the character of Hal Moore, the non-fictional, real character of Hal Moore. I think he did a really good job with that. I also really like Sam Elliott's character. He was also a real guy. I forget his name off the top of my head, but really interesting, phenomenal soldier. Really, I mean, he fought in World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam. So this guy was like a true veteran. And so Sam Elliott did a really good job playing that character, and just a really interesting person in real life too. So yeah, basically the movie's good. I liked it. It's not as good as some of the other Vietnam War movies out there, but it's good. I never minded it. I enjoyed watching it. And I think for grading We Were Soldiers, I will give this one a B-. Yeah, I think a B- would work good for this one. Oh, another cool thing about the movie is for somebody who's interested in journalism like I am, there's a character in here who's also based on a real guy. And Barry Pepper, another really good actor, plays this character. Again, I forget his name, but he's a journalist, but he's not like your typical journalist. Like, they have a moment at the end that kind of is your typical slagging the journalist and showing your stereotypical annoying kind of journalists and that, but they have this one character in there that's different. He's like he's a journalist, but he does it his own way. He doesn't he goes against the grain. Like, he goes out in the middle of nowhere and he just kind of goes off and does his own thing and documents his own stories, and he goes right into the battle and gets the real heavy duty shit, and he helps a lot of soldiers out and even takes place fighting in the battles that he happens to find himself in. So he's a unique guy, an interesting guy, and I just like I really liked his character, actually, and I really liked the introduction of a real character, but also just something unique and interesting, and something to speak out to those documenters and journalist enthusiasts out there, right? Like, a lot of times they get a bad rap in films, and this was one character that I thought did at least some of the people in that world quite well justice. So yeah, that's B- for We Were Soldiers, everybody. Thank you very much for watching.